Alright, so in this video we're going to go through your syllabus for the sales theory class. This is an important class for anybody that's going into any type of business, that ultimately if you're going to have cash coming in, that transaction is dependent in some way on some form of sales. Even if it's not direct one-on-one sales, even if it's sales through a marketing system, it's still some form of sales. If you've got money coming in exchange for some service, product, something going out, that exchange is a sale. And so it's important to understand sales theory. And so the focus of this course is going to be more on underlying principles for sales. And many of these principles could be applied either in a one-on-one sales encounter, right, where it's you, and it may not necessarily be one-on-one. Sometimes you have a team and they have a team, but it's personal and direct sales versus a more systematic sales like marketing. So some of these principles, in fact most of them, could be applied in either way, right? So you could either take this information and apply it in how you're going to deal with an individual. You've got a customer that walked into your store and you want to make a presentation to them that will engage them and cause them to want your product. That same basic underlying theory could be applied if that customer was sitting on their sofa and you're making a commercial that's intended to get them to want to buy your product. Many of the same theories apply whether you're doing it personally or whether you're doing it through some medium like a commercial, an ad of some kind. And so that's really what we want to focus on in this course, is knowledge and awareness of the principles of sales so that we can connect well with people, right? Okay, so if you have your syllabus, we'll kind of just go through that. The textbook is Emotional Intelligence for Sales Success. The reason that I chose that one is because we also have a course that deals just with emotional intelligence, and the two kind of build off of each other. All right, so the psychology course that we have on emotional intelligence lays a good foundation for understanding how this applies then to sales. And so we want to take that textbook and understand that, understanding how people's emotions and people's emotional strengths and your emotional strengths as a salesperson, how all of that fits together in order to improve your sales. So that's an important book that you really should, if you're going to be in business of any kind, you really want to know that stuff, because so much of business is interactions with people, right? And so this relatively new field of emotional intelligence, I mean, it's always been there, but now we're starting to quantify it, put some labels on it. I mean, people have been dealing with people all the way, back to Adam and Eve. But now we're starting to put a different form of label on it, call it emotional intelligence, and begin to understand it a little more clearly about what's going on internally that allows some people to interact with others more successfully. Right? And so that's really the key behind that book, because a lot of people will have sales interactions, and you could have the same customer and the same product, and two different salespeople walk in, and they'll get two totally different reactions from the people, right? And so it's not always about the product. Often it's about the connection that you make with the people. And so that's really what we want to look at with that textbook. In terms of the structure for this course, it's a 5-week course. It's being offered over the summer. So the basic structure will be the same as your other summer courses, where you've got the reading quiz in week 5, right? So you've got the 5 weeks to work on your book, to get as much done as you can so that you're ready for week 5. The reading quiz is open book, like all of them. And you do have, obviously, the makeup assignment if there was some type of an emergency and you weren't able to finish the online quiz, you could turn in a 5-page book report, right? If you'll notice, there's only 2 discussion boards, right? Summertime, so there's only 2, and those are due by midnight Saturday of the week that they're in. So midnight Saturday of the second week, you need to have answered your discussion board posts, and then the next one is by the end of week 4. And you only have 1 paper. It is a sales presentation, right? And the basic thing is it's an online course, so you won't be doing anything, actually presenting in terms of being able to give a speech or something about this. But what I'm wanting you to work on, and this is really key, I think you should take a lot of time with this assignment. There's all the assignments are important, but some assignments in terms of how you will use it in real life later for your particular business, some assignments are more important than others. This is a very important assignment for your future business or current business if you're already doing it. And it's your sales presentation. If somebody wants to buy your product, what is your presentation, right? What are you going to have to give to them? What are you going to show them? What materials are you going to use, right? So for this class, what I'm wanting is for you to put together those materials, right? So be a little creative with it. Make it something that you can use. Now, if you don't have your dream business started yet, that's fine. Still go ahead and do these things with a high quality. You may not, by the time you actually start your business, you may go in a different direction. But the experience of having put together the brochure and some of that stuff is important. And who knows, maybe a lot of the text you may keep. Say when you actually do start your business, say you give it a different name, go with maybe a different color scheme or something, that's fine. But maybe a lot of your core text of what you want to say about your idea that you're going to use in your brochures, maybe you can keep a lot of that. And if you can't, at least it gives you the experience of having put one of these together. And most of the time with promotional materials, what I've found is that it's almost like with writing a paper. Your first few are maybe not as good, and repetition with these things makes each version a little bit better. So if you're starting a business and you're putting out your flyers and that kind of stuff, maybe in the beginning, every 3 to 4 months, you might want to consider redoing those because you'll develop the skill of putting together promotional materials, and each time maybe you tweak it and you get it a little bit better. Maybe it starts to look a little more professional each time you do it. And so I would recommend every 4 to 6 months considering redoing your promotional materials. So that would then mean maybe not printing up 50,000 flyers in the beginning. Maybe you print 200 and let that go through for about 4 to 6 months, and then go back in and redo it. And that process of redoing your materials is really important because most of the time your first few drafts of anything are not as good as your later drafts will be. And so we understand that often with homework, that if I rewrote this paper 3 or 4 times, I can get it a lot better than my rough draft. But the same thing also applies to your promotional stuff. And it's not just the wording. It's the look, the feel, your skill with putting in pictures and graphics and design elements and making it all come together in a simple but powerful format. All of that is developed. It's a skill that's developed over time. Some people will just outsource that to some design company and ask some designer to put together something that looks professional. So that's an option. But if you're going to do it yourself, you got to be at least humble enough to admit that probably your second or third version is going to be better than your first. And so you don't want to be 3 years into your company and still using that first version. You want to be open to redoing this stuff, particularly with your sales presentation. Right? You want that to be as best as it can be. So either outsource it to a professional or make a few drafts little by little until you get this thing right. But so anyway, so this is the start, right, of it in this class. I want a sales presentation. So basically what you're going to be doing for this assignment is you're going to be putting together the promotional materials that you would use in your sales presentation, right? If you've got a product, maybe you put together a brochure, or maybe you put together a flip book of pictures of your previous work. So if you're in construction, maybe you've got before and after photos of your home remodeling, right? Or if you've got a product with different variations, maybe you've got pictures of these different variations, so that when someone comes in, you have something to show them to get their creative ideas going, right? Because when you're selling things, you really want them to help them envision what it is, because you're very familiar with what you sell and all the possibilities and all the things that it can do, but your client may not be, right? And so we don't want to take for granted their level of knowledge. So you want to make it plain to them by showing them and helping them to visualize what it is that you sell and what it can do for them, and what are the features and what are the deals in terms of pricing, all that kind of stuff. You want to make it very plain. The easier it is for them to understand what you're trying to do will help them to be able to make the decision about whether you're the right one. If there's confusion in what you're presenting, then it results in confusion about how they feel about your product, right? So you want everything to be very clear, over-communicate, make it plain, and then put in creative ideas about possibilities, right? Because, you know, depending on the product that you're selling, maybe there's some applications for it, or different versions of it, or things like that not every customer is going to have in their mind, right? And so you want to help them to be able to see what it can be. So if somebody was selling airplanes, for example, like Boeing or something, you wouldn't want to just have a picture of the plane. You would also want to have 10 or 12 different interiors that are possibilities, different ways of setting up the interior to reach different types of clients. Because some people are going to buy that plane from Boeing and they just want nothing but seats in it, you know, like a commercial airliner. Some people are going to buy it and they're going to want office space because it's for business, and then some people are going to want it and it's for their family travel, so they're going to want a couple of bedrooms, maybe some bathrooms and stuff like that, some showers, because they're going to be traveling while they're on the plane. Some people are going to get that plane and it's just for entertainment, so they're going to want a big living space with you know, sofas and maybe some kind of a kitchen type thing, so they want to entertain while they're on the airplane. Some people are going to want it to be a blend of one or more elements. Some people are going to want it to be more traditional and nice features. Some people are, maybe there's a special type of thing that they're doing. The Coast Guard or something may want to outfit the inside of the plane with medical facilities, so that whenever they pick up someone, they can give them basic medical treatment while they're in flight. So there's all types of different options. So if you were selling those planes and you're putting together your promotional materials, you don't want to just show them the outside or the traditional setup that it normally comes with. You may want to put together different possibilities that help your customer to see the potential of your product, right? So as that works with Boeing and different airplane designs, you want to incorporate that into yours. What are the possibilities, right? If it's a hotel, maybe you talk to them about not just what the room looks like, but other features of the hotel, things that they could do while they're there, things in the area. You know, maybe you talk about different services that you offer that they might not have thought about, like wedding catering at your hotel, or maybe you've got a special service for honeymooners, and you want to put that in there to where you do the room up with flowers and things like that for a special occasion, or birthday parties or convention rooms. You know, there's different things that you offer at the hotel that maybe somebody who's considering your hotel isn't even aware of, right? And then if you just tell them, hey, we've got a hotel and it's at this price, and you just give them a few basic things, you miss quite a lot of potential, because your person never even thought about what you're offering, and they had no way of knowing. So you've got to make it clear. You've got to over-communicate possibility and options and all that kind of stuff. So for your assignment, I want you to put together your promotional materials, And that's really going to be up to you what you consider a promotional material. But then I want a 2 to 3 page summary. So this is going to be the academic side of it, right? I want a 2 to 3 page summary in your own words. You don't really need sources, so this is just in your own words. 2 to 3 page summary about what you are including in your promotional materials, and kind of give me a summary about why you did it the way that you did it, what you were thinking, what you're designed to, you set it up this way because you want people to see this, and you understand this theory about sales, so that's why I designed it in this way. So kind of, if you can, tie in your summary, maybe some of the principles you've learned in the class or in other classes in the school that help you to understand the theory behind the way you did your promotion, and make sure that you have a working theory that supports the presentation you've chosen, right? So it's not just about showing me that you know the theory. It's about making sure that you have good theory and knowledge and wisdom backing up the way you've chosen to promote your sale product, right? Okay. And then you've got your final for this class. That last week you'll get a finals review, and then the last day of the class the finals will turn on, and you'll have 7 days after that to get your final completed, right? Okay, so go ahead, get started on your reading. If you have any questions, make sure that you send me an email, and we'll do our best to help you through that. And then and one other thing, on these promotional materials, you're just sending me the file, right? Obviously, you don't need to print out a brochure and give me the actual brochure. What I'm wanting you to do is whatever file you would have sent to the printer, right, to have them printed out for you, that's what you're going to send to me as part of your assignment, right? So, you'll have your academic paper, right, and then whatever other file attachments that you need. And in fact, what I'll do is in the course, I'll put 3 links, right? And it'll just say attachment 1, attachment 2, attachment 3. So that because they're probably going to be separate files. You can put it all in one file if you want, but it may be separate files, right? You've got attachment, so you've got your paper, but then maybe your brochure is done in something else, So what I'll let you do, you can either put it all into one, or I'll have a couple links there where you could upload into the MyOSC up to 3 other attachments if you want to do them as separate files so that I can view them individually. So you'd have your 2 to 3 page paper explaining what you did, and then up to 3 attachments of your promotional materials if you want to keep them separated. Okay? All right, sounds good.